The news day continues here on One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. Here are the top stories of the hour. The number of jobless Filipinos slightly fell in the month of March. Preliminary data from the Philippine Statistics Authority shows that unemployment rate in the country slightly eased to 4.7% in March. That's equivalent to 2.42 million Filipinos out of the 51 million labor force participants. The latest figure is lower than the 4.8% unemployment rate logged in February. Underemployment also fell in March at 11.2% or 5.44 million Filipinos. That's lower than February's 12.9% or 6.29 million Filipinos who are seeking to work more hours or an additional job. The lower unemployment and underemployment rates came as the PSA notes a dip in the number of labor force participants. Data from the PSA shows that labor force participation in the country now stands at 66% in March. Though this is higher than the 65.4% in the same month last year, it is lower than the 66.6% figure logged in February. SWS surveys conducted in March found that over half of Filipino families still consider themselves as poor, with more families also rating themselves as food poor based on the type of food they eat. Filipino families who rated themselves as mahirap or poor is at 51% in March, steady from the data in December last year. That's equivalent to around 14 million self-rated poor families. 30% of families describe themselves as borderline poor, while only 19% believe they are not poor. Meanwhile, a separate survey found that 39% of Filipino families feel that they were food poor, higher than the 34% recorded in December of last year. In Metro Manila, the self-rated poverty threshold rose to 20,000 pesos in March from 15,000 pesos in December. The self-rated poverty threshold is defined as the minimum monthly budget that self-rated poor families say they need to not consider themselves poor. President Bongbong Marcos congratulates the United Kingdom's newly crowned monarch, King Charles III. In a statement released earlier today, Marcos Jr. said he hopes for a new chapter of peace, progress, and prosperity for the UK. The president attended Charles's coronation in London over the weekend, which he described as grand, magnificent, and full of symbolism. Prior to that, Marcos Jr. and First Lady Liza Araneta Marcos were able to meet His Majesty at the reception at Buckingham Palace. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. The Philippine Nuclear Research Institute has reiterated that nuclear power could lower electricity costs. PNRI Director Carlo Arcilla also explained that nuclear power generates more electricity compared to other sources like coal. U.S. firm Ultrasafe Nuclear Corporation told President Bongbong Marcos that they plan to build a nuclear energy facility in the Philippines.
If the nuclear becomes bigger in the energy mix, dahil mas mura siya, bababa theoretically yung presyo. Alam niyo po ba, ganyang kaliit na nuclear fuel 2%, ang katumbas, 2 toneladang coal.
If the deal pushes through, Arcilla assured the public that they won't allow the use of nuclear energy in the country without prior testing.
The makers of the SMRs still need 10 years. Kasi ang problema po yan, pag gagawa ka ng nuclear plant, dapat i-approve yung design mo. First. Pangalawa, i-approve yung construction, ite-test yan. Hindi ganun kadali.
More medals are coming in for Filipino athletes at the 32nd Southeast Asian Games in Cambodia. Cebol secured the country's first esports gold after a 3-1 run against defending champion Vietnam. This is a redemption for the Philippines after being swept by Vietnam in the gold medal match last year in Hanoi. Mark Lim emerged at the top of the men's 69kg Newaza Nogi final as he won via submission against Vietnam. Jamie Lim, meanwhile, defeated Cambodia in the finals of women's 61kg Kumite to get her second SEA Games gold. Duo Bien Zoleta Manyalak and Princess Katindig caught the gold in the women's doubles category of soft tennis. Kim Mangrobang defended her gold medal after winning in women's individual duathlon. Mangrobang won 2 golds in last year's Hanoi SEA Games in duathlon and triathlon events. The Philippines remains at the 5th spot in the medal tally with 54 medals as of 7 a.m. today. Host country Cambodia is at number 1 with 74 medals, followed by Thailand, Indonesia, and Vietnam. Reviving Pagmamano is a main theme in this year's National Heritage Month celebration. Laila Pangilinan with the report.
The National Commission for Culture and the Arts will lead the National Heritage Month celebration this May. Their main goal? To strengthen people's consciousness, respect, and love for the legacies of Filipino cultural history. This year, they will be promoting the revival of one of the intangible Filipino heritage, the practice of the pagmamano, or paying respect to our elders by taking their hand and placing it in our foreheads. Just as bowing is a sign of respect among the Japanese, bless or pagmamano is uniquely Filipino.
Marami po kasing klase ng cultural heritage. Meron pong intangible cultural heritage. Yun po yung mga hindi natin nakikita pero napapractice po natin yon. Katulad po yan ng pagmamano. Kailangan po nating i-reintegrate or ipaalala po sa general public. Kasi po kung lahat po tayo, tumigil po tayo sa pagmamano, hindi na po maipaparating sa next generation yan.
However, experts cite the pandemic as a key factor to why pagmamano is becoming obsolete. That, along with social media.
Nag-online tayong lahat, nakakalimutan na natin yung mga kaugalian natin. Tulad halimbawa ng pagmano. Kasi nasanayan na natin mag-greet na lang ng kung paano nag-greet on TikTok, on online. Ang mga challenges talaga para sa amin is yung pag-educate ng ating mga kabataan.
The NCCA says that they've also reached out to other national agencies, like the Commission on Higher Education and TESDA. Meanwhile, the Education Department is already working with the agency in reintroducing pagmamano. But aside from school, some parents believe that pagmamano should be taught primarily at home by elders, passing it on from generation to generation.
Kailangan may ganong gesture kasi talagang yun yung simbolo na nire-respeto nyo yung mga matatanda.
proud din naman ako kasi na-experience ko rin naman yan. Lately lang din na yung friends ko nakikita ng mga anak ko sa kalsada, magchat-chat sa akin, Mami, nag-bless sa akin yung anak mo. Kaya yun, nakakatuwa.
The National Heritage Month kicked off in Rojas City, Capiz. As part of the celebration, the NCCA launched a commemorative stamp in collaboration with the National Historical Commission, PhilPost, and the Filipino Heritage Festival. The agency will be touring the country for the month-long activities, including a forum about Pinoy heritage and pagmamano. There will also be online activities, including a virtual tour of different tangible heritage sites of the country, starting off with the San Agustin Church Museum. For News 5, Laila Pangilinan, we are One News.
And that's it for this hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 11:15 a.m. We are One News. All sides, all the time.